Chuck Sanders.
As the Chiefs start their quest for a third consecutive Super Bowl title, star tight end Travis Kelce says he has no plans of slowing down.
Physically, I feel just as good, if not more ready than I have been in years past. Just because you get more comfortable with your body, you learn things from the mistakes you made in years past and things like that. And you just constantly keep getting better and keep getting more aware of where your body's at. So
the Chiefs and Ravens open up the season at Arrowhead tomorrow night in a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. Baltimore coach John Harbaugh says there's still scores to be settled.
There's always carryover, absolutely. I mean, there's carryover for both teams. There's carryover strategically. There's carryover for the individual battles that guys are going to have that are still on the team.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Get big deals for days at Target's long weekend sale.
Let's go.
Like 20% off denim, tees, dresses, and shoes for the family. Then round out your barbecue with Doritos and Ruffles party-sized chips. They're on sale 2 for $7. Or get 30% off 12 packs of soda when you buy 3 with Target Circle. And save even more. Find new lower prices on many grocery and household items you love today and every day. Target's long weekend sale ends Monday. Restrictions apply.
I love it.
Doors take us to summers away or winter adventures and afternoon getaways. Your dedicated Fidelity advisor can help you open those doors by working with you on a comprehensive plan to help you reach your wealth's full potential, because doors were meant to be opened. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimum supply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Patience is a virtue.
You know what else is a virtue?
Having the smarts to know that when football season gets here, you'll get all the angles, strategies, and info
right here. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the two best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, listen, I don't know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, Sirius XM Channel 159.
Let's do it, baby! It is a Wednesday. It is hump day, and it's the most important hump day that you've had all year long. Why is that? Because we are waiting for NFL Week Number 1 action, which will take place tomorrow night in Arrowhead Stadium. GEHA Field will be home to the Kansas City Chiefs, the back-to-back world champions, looking to embark on a 3-time conquer quest that we've never seen in the NFL. Can they get it done? We'll take a look at that today. We'll take a look at some other hot topics, but this is the best hour of your day, and it is officially underway. And also, if you are watching live on YouTube, you can do that as well. SportsGrid on demand. Head over on YouTube, check out the shows live, watch them back on replay. The people have asked for it, and the people have received. Now, granted, it took me a little bit of time here to try to find SportsGrid on demand on YouTube, was able to bring it up, and I believe I hit the live tag on SportsGrid on demand, and it brings up a couple options. You can watch yesterday's Moneyline episode with myself and Kevin Walsh, or you can watch today's live episode with your boy DRS on a solo mission. Now, I don't want to click on the link right now because it will jam my ears and mess everything that I have up in front of me. But if you want to watch live this program on SiriusXM Channel 159, you can do it also on YouTube. We're back. It's football season. We've been working on a lot of this stuff. Now, the last key component here that we're going to try to bring you, hopefully sooner than later, is we love reaching out to the program on this love reaching out to the public on this program. We do. Phone calls, it's a must that we get that back into it. There are people that we need to get a hold of and that need to get a hold of us during football season to bring those picks and to bring those passions here. So hopefully we get the phone lines fixed sooner than later to bring the family back together. But it is Moneyline. We're ready to go over the next hour. Football season, it's like Christmas Eve today, isn't it? Isn't that the feeling? Not for myself, outside of football games. You know, the home studio's in full effect. We rock and roll. We bring as many good content as we can possibly out to the people on radio and on television. But tomorrow night, back in studio live for Kansas City and Baltimore. We're going to get that started. I believe tomorrow I will be on with Kevin on Game Time Decisions in the studio for a live hit. And as well as before the game, sometime around like 7:30 Eastern, I believe, we'll be doing a live hit, myself, Joe Lisi, and Kevin Walsh, to preview the game tomorrow for Baltimore and Kansas City. And then we will be with you for the entirety of that football game tomorrow night in studio, live for the entire first half, get a little breather at halftime, and then be back for quarters 3 and 4. So it is a late night for your boy in football season. That's okay. The people need that information. The people need to have some fun along with us, and we'll be there every Monday and every Thursday during the regular season. We will be live in studio for that primetime game. And then, of course, on Sunday mornings, to get your weekend started off in style for NFL football, Pro Football Today, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., covering every single angle of every single game that you need to know. Football season is here on the SportsGrid Network, and I'm extremely excited, even though it's a lot more work on me than what I do post-NFL. But as you know, we need to bring that heat, and we will certainly do that. So excited to see that play out. And tomorrow night, it all starts. But before we get there, we do have a lot of hot topics to get to. Had a great show this morning on the early line. It was myself and Dubs Anderson over the first 2 hours. Then Joe Lisi joined us a little bit later in that third hour to talk some NFL action for tomorrow night, and also setting the stage here for college football and some thoughts on the AP Top 25 poll that was released. That saw my Miami Hurricanes storm up there from number 19 to number 12. USC storms up from 23 to 13 here, and away we go. I guess the marquee game this weekend, Michigan and Texas. Michigan is a top 10 football team now. You take a look at Texas, they are a top 5 football team right now. Something has to give there, and the one thing that is giving away is that line itself. 3.5s up to 7.5s. People can't get enough of those Texas Longhorns. And I really think it's because of how Texas looked on their opening game. It was more of Michigan not technically being dominating in their football game against Fresno State. But that's neither here nor there. We're geeked up and ready to go. But also, I know the people out there listening love this as well. We got a full Major League Baseball schedule today. First game starting at 3:07 p.m. That's the Philadelphia Phillies and the Toronto Blue Jays, followed by a complete full card tonight, which I think we can make some money on. Now, last night, didn't really spend that much time. I was really setting up my card in the NFL. Got a lot of prop bets I like this weekend, so make sure you're checking out your boy DRS right here on Twitter at RightSideVP. Baseball plays, hot picks, hot topics, even some videos that are going to be coming your way here, as I got a couple. By the way, these guys know me. Like I love technology. I have a couple different ways to film here. Obviously, in my home studio, which I'm broadcasting from right now. I have another separate studio that I shoot filming on. And also, I set up a third in front of a TV, which I think I'm going to start tomorrow and go live. Actually, go live is not the right word. Put out videos for primetime action. So before I drive up in northern New Jersey to go on Pro Football Today, to go on in-game live, to go on Game Time Decisions, whatever it might be, I might put a video or two out before I leave on my primetime bets so that people can get a hold of that and won't have to wait until game time to find out exactly what I'm trying to get on. So we have a lot of good things brought up. SportsGrid Network, certainly the place to be, but also give me a follow if you haven't yet on Twitter, on X, at RightSideVP. We're going to have an awesome, profitable football season and still a lot of money to be made on the Major League Baseball card. Now, last night, sort of laid low, but every once in a while you say to yourself, you know what? Got a good bank account that's ready to go for football, made some good money in Major League Baseball, and there's still much, much more money to be made over the months of September. Now, granted, October and playoff baseball, it's a lot different handicapping. I'm an RBI guy, I like to pick on bad pitchers, and once you get to the playoffs, there's not too many bad bullpens or bad pitchers that you're going to be picking on at that point. So let's focus on these final couple weeks in Major League Baseball. So yesterday, took it easy. I said, you know what? Let me go to my account here and sort of wanted to round off. There's a certain number in my account, but I had an extra, 41 bucks that before I had to even, I don't want to give up the number that's in my bank account, but you get the point here. Let's just say I had X amount of dollars and $41 or $40 left. So you know what? Let me win some pizza money tonight. Let me go after a game I think that makes some sense. And I didn't put it out on Twitter because it wasn't necessarily a handicap that I loved, but I said, you know what? I think I have a slight edge in this game, and I think it could be worked out. It was an 8.5 total yesterday on the Chicago White Sox the worst team in Major League Baseball, taking on the Baltimore Orioles. You had Cade Povich on the mound, who had the highest xFIP number on the card yesterday, who was taking the mound for the Baltimore Orioles. And quite frankly, his past 60 days, guys, close to a 10 ERA. We brought that up yesterday on the early line. One of those they said, you know what? How can you have a 3-1 price on the worst pitcher on the card as the favorite? It didn't make any sense. So I said to myself, if the White Sox can score 3 runs tonight, this is going to be an easy over. I don't think any doubt in my mind that I could get 5 to 6 runs, per se, from the Baltimore Orioles. I think that's going to happen. You might have said, well, Donnie, why didn't you just bet the side? Well, I'm not laying $40 on a game that's minus 300. I'm not doing that. So you know what? What makes the most sense? So I took an over in that game, over 8.5. Early on, it looked great for Baltimore, saying, you know what? Chicago's going to chime in this game. That game ends 9-0 Baltimore. And I won, which was great. So it's going to buy me a couple pizzas. Fantastic. But I even put that tweet out this morning on X. I was like, look, sometime you're better lucky than good, because the majority of my handicap was I think Chicago might be able to challenge in this game. But number 2, I just think the starting pitcher for Baltimore is bad. So I know I'm getting runs out of the Chicago White Sox, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, or even more than that, could be a possibility. Quite frankly, it wasn't a possibility. They didn't score, but I still won the bet. So sometimes, people, better to be lucky than good in certain situations. I got pizza money, and we're rolling it over into football season, which begins tomorrow. It's Donnie Rightside on a solo mission. The hot topics continue right here on Moneyline.
A chance to try out that nacho recipe you saw on TikTok. Football is right around the corner. All the angles, strategies, and odds right here. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
A Michigan judge ruled that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. must remain on the November presidential ballot. With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. Kennedy suspended his campaign and endorsed former President Donald Trump in August. Since then, he has sought to withdraw his name in states like Michigan, where the race could be close. At the same time, he is trying to remain on the ballot in states where he is unlikely to make a difference between Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. Kennedy filed a lawsuit Friday in Michigan's Court of Claims against Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, a Democrat, in an effort to withdraw his name. Linda Soon, a former aide to New York Governor Kathy Hochul, schemed to advance the interests of China while working in New York state government, according to federal prosecutors. The indictment charges Soon with failure to register as a foreign agent, visa fraud, alien smuggling, and money laundering conspiracy. Her husband, Christopher Hu, allegedly facilitated the transfer of millions of dollars in kickbacks for personal gains, according to prosecutors. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
If I was to describe this sandwich in one word, I would say magical. Hi, this is Jamore, and the little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich is that extra oomph. I go back and forth from the spicy filet to the original filet. I get into the sweetness of the honey, then you have the extra kick from the spicy filet. The combination alone takes it over the top. It's award-winning.
The Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is back with a bite. Try it with the original or spicy filet, now for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Your wife called. She's sick of you moping around the house, impatient for football. So cheer up, Sporto.
Football season is right around the corner.
We're gearing up to bring you all the angles, strategies, odds, and info right here. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
SportsGrid Radio Network, people. It's how we get down. It's football season. We've been watching college football. Now the NFL is going to take place tomorrow, but I always say this. There's still a lot of money that you can be made, or couldn't be made, in the Major League Baseball season. Once we get to the playoffs, it completely changes for me, and it's not necessarily making money at that point. It's more being a fan. You know, I love my Philadelphia Phillies. You know, I'll root them on, and maybe there are some bets and advantages that you can make. But people, we are live. SportsGrid on demand on YouTube. If you're on X right now or Twitter, you follow me at RightSideVP. Just tweeted out the link. Save that link. You want to watch along with us, you can certainly do that. I'm going to click on this link, which is really going to get into my ear right now, which it is. And there. So I hit pause. We actually have a chat box open up there. So I'm going to write hello, people, on the chat box. So we are officially live on YouTube as I'm watching myself talk in a slight delay right now, which is okay. It's not in my earpiece. It's not affecting me. My man Tony's in there saying, let's go. I jumped in. So I might have to have one of my screens completely open now on Moneyline and get a little interaction going, because it's something that we've been working on here at the SportsGrid Network for quite some time. It's something that we wanted to bring to the people and said, what would make some sense? Let's get a little bit more video here, as opposed to you guys always see us like on TV, right? So now you can see us on YouTube, on the radio, and a lot more shows here on the network radio-wise are going to do the same thing. Just a better way to reach out to people and have some fun, and we'll grow it. It's brand new at this point. We just started going live yesterday. We've been working on it for a couple weeks. So hopefully this builds and you guys really enjoy it and you watch it and you can get a hold of it and see us live on TV right now. Or instead of saying not on TV, on YouTube. Akbar just checked into there. Donnie, my brother. Yep, absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. So if you want to get a hold of me, it used to be that hashtag SG Moneyline. This just makes it a little bit easier so I can reply in real time as well. But we're always a social network here at the company. We love to reach out to the people. It looks like this is just another way to actually do that. If you have any questions from time to time, being able to look at that chat box. But we're officially live on the SportsGrid Network here with Moneyline on YouTube. The people wanted us back on TV or a way to visually check us out on YouTube. This is your way to do it. We'll be here each and every day on Moneyline, Monday through Friday. Now, granted, there are some changes to the Major League Football season. See that? I'm so ready to get into baseball, but still football is on my mind. Monday through Friday, Moneyline, as you guys know, 11 to 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time. That's not going to change here. That's what we're looking at for football season. Now, number two, there are some changes to the broadcast here because much more of my time is used on NFL content and to be in studio. Sometimes it makes it just a little bit harder for me to actually be on radio. But have no fear. The only day that I'm going to be off during the week on Moneyline will be Tuesdays. Simple process is I'm in the studio with a long drive on Sunday. Then on Monday, you guys know my schedule. It's pretty crazy. Morning schedule, you see me on the air. On Monday, you will also see me on the radio right here on Moneyline. And then I drive into the studio for Monday Night Football. So I do need a break on Tuesday, which I'll be doing no programming here on the SportsGrid Network, which means I'm off early on the early line and then followed by radio, which Kevin will be live on radio at that point to hold it down on Tuesdays. But I will be back on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So the only time I'm going to miss this 1 hour time slot during the week, guys, is on Tuesday. But Kevin will be here. And then for us, Mondays, Kevin and I will be together. Tuesdays, it'll just be Kevin. Wednesday, I'll be on a solo mission. Thursday, Kevin will join me. And then on Friday, once again, it'll just be me at 11 o'clock. And by the way, some good things there, rooting in the big man on campus to come join us as well. Drew Epling just tapped in with us here on the chat box as well. So just saying hello to a couple people in. And this is going to be nice because you could put a face to me. You could see me there. And also, if you don't have SiriusXM on your car, by the way, people, the SportsGrid app, if you haven't downloaded it yet, what are you waiting for? You can listen live on the SportsGrid app at any time you want to both TV and radio. It's the best way to be a part of the programming, but just an added incentive now on YouTube to have people tuning in to the show here that can get involved. So there, you got the planning, you got the football season all laid out. It's going to be spectacular. It's going to be fun, and we're very excited about doing that here. So let's get into some topics here to talk about, which included yesterday's slate in Major League Baseball. You guys know me. I've been hemming and hawing for a long time about my Philadelphia Phillies. I haven't lost the passion for the Phillies because they are going to make the playoffs, and I am going to cheer them on in hopes that they win a World Series. But do they make it tough? They absolutely make it tough for me. Yesterday, barely tuning in, oh, look at that. The Phillies are down 6-1. Let me shut that game off. Now, when I say shut the game off, it just means it's not on my TV. But my phone is basically surgically implanted to my right hand. So it's always there, and I'm always checking in. Oh, look, Schwarber to start the game off. Now you're down 6-1 by the end of the first. The Phillies are giving up in this one. Checking in later in the game, they're down 8-4. Fell asleep, woke up, and saw they won 10-9 because Kyle Schwarber went 5 of 6 at the plate. 5 base hits, which included a single, a double, and 3 absolute bombs to win that game. That's incredible. They needed it because why the Mets won and the Atlanta Braves won and the Los Angeles Dodgers won. That's an incredible game that saw 34 total hits. The ball was flying out of the yard yesterday in Toronto, particularly from the bat of Kyle Schwarber. The Los Angeles Dodgers late night continue to roll, people, getting it together, staying with the best overall record in the NL with a 6-2 victory over the Angels. That was an impressive performance. The Texas Rangers helping out the Baltimore Orioles by hitting a bottom of the ninth inning grand slam to beat the New York Yankees, a devastating loss. Other games we talked about, the Atlanta Braves with Chris Sale on the mound, the heavy favorite to win the National League Cy Young Award, was phenomenal once again. Improves to 16-3 on the season with a 2.46 ERA in a shutout win over the lowly Colorado Rockies. The Royals have lost 7 games in a row now after dropping a game to the Guardians 7-1 yesterday. And if you were listening on the early line, I actually think this hits 8 total games. I think they lose 8 in a row, slipping and sliding away, still comfortably right now in that wild card race. But how long is that comfortability going to be able to last for them? Paul Skeens and the Pittsburgh Pirates, a 5-0 win yesterday where he was phenomenal. Skeens now moves to 9-2 on the Major League Baseball season with an ERA at 2.13. And yet, he's not going to win Young, and he's not going to win the Rookie of the Year. Let's talk baseball next. Let's set the table. Who are those pitchers to fade? Find out next, right here on Moneyline.
Let's take a moment to recognize all the soon-to-be football widows about to happen.
Football is coming.
Get all the info, strategy, and odds
right here.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1994. Dolphins quarterback Dan Marino throws 5 touchdown passes in a Dolphins win over the Patriots. Marino set an NFL record with his 18th game of 4 or more TDs.
And Marino guns it, and it's caught, reaching out to make the catch.
Marino threw for over 61,000 yards and 420 TDs in his amazing career. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
New research reveals you can learn overnight by smelling strong odors combined with spoken instructions while you're asleep.
E equals MC squared.
Neurons associated with smell are hardwired to the brain centers of learning, memory, and emotion. While you're asleep, sniffing cigarette odor mixed with the smell of decomposing fish and rotten eggs makes you want to quit smoking. Stimulating the olfactory system, your sensory environment, smelling while sleeping may supercharge learning anything. Follow me at G Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Moneyline.
Every single player is signed, sealed, and delivered with monster money, except your top guy. And oh, by the way, T. Higgins had to settle for the franchise tag. This organization is run so poorly, I can't take it anymore. I want the Bengals to be good with no issue, so I can bet Jamar Chase anytime touchdown market week number 1. Sign this guy. What are we waiting for?
Catch Moneyline with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
You were probably the kind of kid that bugged your dad every car trip asking,
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Every 2 minutes, weren't you?
Listen.
Football season is coming.
Now sit down and shut up.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Right back at it here live on YouTube. People got to be loving that out there. People checking in, saying hello. Fantastic stuff. Love to see it here. Trying to make some adjustments on my camera live at this point, since now that we, want to look appropriate. Let me just raise myself up. Look at that. I can do it right live on the air. Get more of my body right there. Who doesn't like that? Huh? How about that? All right. Let's get back to the basics here. The best hour every day. This is what you came for. Major League Baseball. Let's try to make some money. Let's see if we can win some games. We got 26 pitchers on the card today rated over the past 60 days. Minimum of 20 innings pitched here. We're going to go over ERAs and xFIP numbers to see if we can remove that eye test and say, what's that underlying value of some pitchers that we want to fade today? Let's take a look at the top 5 pitchers on the card. Guys that we probably don't want to get in front of tonight. Number 1 on that card, it's Sonny Gray, and he's always the anomaly, guys. Because why? His last 60 days. Did you know his ERA is a 5.40, but I have him as the best analytical pitcher on the card today with an extremely low xFIP number of 2.82. He was finally phenomenal in his last start, and maybe we expect him to do the same, but a guy that I'm certainly not looking to fade. You take a look at Nathan Eovaldi of the Texas Rangers today. 3.76 ERA, so manageable, but a great xFIP number of 2.90. Number 3 on the card today, it's the Philadelphia Phillies in the afternoon with Christopher Sanchez, the left-handed pitcher, on the mound. His ERA also 5.22 over the past 60 days, but his xFIP number much lower at a 3.32. Number 4 on the list, Shota Imanaga, Chicago Cubs, 61 1/3 innings pitched over the past 60 days, a 3.23 ERA, and an xFIP number of 3.52. Rounding out that top 5 on the card today, that is Spencer Arrighetti of the Houston Astros. ERA past 60 days, 3.49. That covers 59 1/3 innings pitched, and his xFIP number over those past 60 days, very manageable at a 3.63. Getting a little dyslexic right there at that point. Other guys in the top 10, Bowden Francis, Colin Ray, Nick Martinez, J.P. Sears, and George Kirby. But let's get to the bottom of the order, the guys that we want to fade, the guys that we think we have a decided advantage against. And the usual suspects usually come up in these bottom 5s on a day-to-day basis. Number 26, out of 26 on my card, 36 2/3 innings pitched over the past 60 days. An ERA of 4.91, but an xFIP number devastatingly bad at 5.51. That's Valente Beloso of the Miami Marlins. Number 2 in line is the 25th overall pitcher on the card. Chicago White Sox, man, they just throw bad pitcher after bad pitcher after bad pitcher every night, huh? Jonathan Cannon, who is 1-7 over his 9 starts over the past 60 days and 56 2/3 innings pitched at 4.76 ERA and an xFIP number of 5.42. Number 24 on the card today, the Colorado Rockies going to send up Bradley Blaylock on the mound. Only 20 2/3 innings pitched over the past 60 days. His ERA, 5.23. His xFIP number, 5.41. So the only 3 pitchers on the card today, last 2 months, minimum 20 innings pitched, that do have an above 5 xFIP number. The other 2 guys to round out the bottom 5 on this card today, it's Bobby Miller of the Los Angeles Dodgers. 24 2/3 innings pitched over the past 60 days. Check his ERA out, guys. A 7.66 and an xFIP number just below 5 at 4.95. Mackenzie Gore of the Washington Nationals, 47 innings pitched over the past 60 days, an ERA 6.32, an xFIP number of 4.83. The lowest guy here, because I always like to take a look at somewhere in that 4.75 or higher range. Only one more pitcher on the card. That's Ben Lively of the Cleveland Guardians today. 59 2/3 innings pitched, a 5 ERA basically, and a 4.80 xFIP number. So maybe the Royals can bounce back tonight and get a victory. But I'm certainly not counting on that at this point here. So they're the pitchers. The good ones, Arrighetti, Imanaga, Sanchez, Eovaldi, and Gray. The bad ones, Gore, Miller, Blaylock, Cannon, Beloso, and also you can include Ben Lively in that situation. Now, today's card, as we said, sets up early to start the competition. That is the Philadelphia Phillies. They're going to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Official start time here, let me just bring that up in the 6 of what we got. 3:07 p.m., that's Sanchez and Francis. The next game start include the night slate. 4 games in the 6 o'clock hour. 5 games in the 7 o'clock hour. 1 game in the 8 o'clock hour. And if you're night owls out there tonight and you want to bet some baseball games, which I do think you have some pretty good options are, that's the Dodgers and the Angels. That's the Mariners and the Oakland Athletics. That's Detroit and San Diego. And that's Arizona and San Francisco. So those are the games that we're taking a look at late night, but I do think we're going to make some money. We're going to start the breakdown process next. You already know the pitchers that we're trying to fade. Now let's come up with some batters that can match these fades enough to win us some money. RBI props, totals, overs, unders, sides. You guessed it. It's Moneyline, right here on the SportsGrid Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. I'm Donnie Rightside, and I will be right back.
Made it. Summer's almost over.
Football straight ahead.
And we've got you covered with all the info, strategy, and odds. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
The Week 2 AP Top 25 football poll is out. Georgia remains number 1 with Ohio State staying put at number 2. The biggest movers this week, USC jumped 10 spots to number 13, while Clemson slipped 11 spots all the way down to number 25. The NFL season gets underway tomorrow night with the Chiefs hosting the Ravens. Kansas City starting their quest for a third straight Super Bowl title. Head coach Andy Reid.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, what we've got. I mean, that's always... I think that's probably with every player, every coach, every fan, every media person. Curious to see what you have and how you handle everything. But that's the best part about it. We'll see how it goes.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Macy's Labor Day sale is going on now with limited time end of summer specials like great deals on back to school looks, and shop our lowest prices of the season on furniture, mattresses, and more 15 to 65% off. Or use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 20% off even more great deals. Star Rewards members can earn faster during Star Money bonus days at Macy's. Details at Macys.com/Star Money. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Everybody, great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high-load conditions versus API-SP test limits.
Siri, what? Set a reminder.
What is time?
Football season is coming.
Okay, reminder set. Football is coming. Now go talk to your wife. She misses you. Did you know she cries herself to sleep every night?
Football. Glorious football is coming.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
People crying themselves to sleep at night? Why? We're not making enough money at this point? By the way, I love the live graphic there on the YouTube channel. Get you the countdown in there. JP behind the scenes working hard on that. Looks good. You got your boy with the king. The king's crown. You got old K-Dub over there with the big S money chain. Boys are checking in here. Now it's time to make some money here. Let's get after it. Let's go over the Major League Baseball card. Now, if you guys are watching live on the YouTube channel, thank you for joining us here. I got my pen and paper. You can hear that on the radio. We're ready to write down some names that make a lot of sense. And I would go right to the Arizona Diamondbacks game, but we're going to settle in on that because I do love that game, and there are so many opportunities to make some money on that game. We'll cash in a little bit. But as we told you, we're going to avoid good pitchers. Christopher Sanchez is in the top 5 today. He's actually number 3 overall. So you look at that lineup today and say, okay, some of those Toronto batters have done very well against left-handed pitching over the past 30 days. We're going to exclude that. Varsho's been great. Kirk's been great. Leo Jimenez has been very good. But again, Sanchez has been a solid pitcher. He's out. Same thing with Bowden Francis, who's going to take the mound here for the Toronto Blue Jays. You might not have even heard a lot about Bowden Francis. Franchise Francis. He might as well be the franchise right now because his numbers have been stellar over the past 30 days. A 116 batters that he's going against, an ISO of 0.99 and a weighted on-base percentage of 137. We're out on any Philadelphia Philly. We're out on any game at 3 o'clock. So you don't have to rush home from work and say, oh, no, I got to put these wagers in at my desk. Don't worry about it. We're not going to that game live. Chicago White Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. Jonathan Cannon is on the mound. You guys know I already told you. He's on our fade list today. 56 2/3 innings pitched over the past 60 days, an ERA of close to 5, and an xFIP that is over 5. If we're looking at his last 30-day statistics, he's got a 202 ISO against, which is bad, and a 396 weighted on base percentage, which is bad. If we break that down between lefty and righty batters, lefties over the past 30 days, a 357 weighted on base percentage, righties a 442. The power angle is a little bit more over the past 30 days against right-handed batters against him, as opposed to his initial parts of the season where lefties struggled. So what are we saying to you, basically? Lefties and righties should be able to do damage. If you can always give me like one guy in that lineup that I'm always going to ride with, it's going to be Anthony Santander. So I'm going to write Santander down as my first guy here for Baltimore. Makes sense. His numbers, last 68 at-bats against right-handed pitching, a 230 ISO, which is tops on the team over the past month, And his weighted on base percentage, it's a little bit low at 310, but what are we looking for? Give me Gunnar Henderson. Give me Adley Rutschman. Give me Ryan O'Hearn on base. He should be able to drive in numbers. Also, if you're taking a look at another guy that should be able to do damage in that lineup, it's Colton Cowser. 215 ISO and a 336 weighted on base percentage. Other guys that have done well, too. Eloy Jimenez and Cedric Mullins. So if I'm going to say to myself, on this game as I look at it now, Donnie, give me 2 players on this team that you believe can drive in runs, it's probably going to be Santander and Cowser back-to-back. So we'll go Santander and Cowser for Baltimore here. So we'll get those 2 out of the way. We can always revisit it later, right? But right now, as I'm looking at it, they should score runs. They should do extremely well, and that's the way I'll play it off. Albert Suarez is on the mound here for Baltimore. And if I'm looking at Albert Suarez's numbers, he's 13th on my card today with a 3.99 ERA. So we're going to leave everybody out. And by the way, Andrew Benintendi is actually quietly having a very, very good last month to 2 months with the Chicago White Sox. A 404 ISO power number and a 431 weighted on base percentage. The problem is we just don't think anybody's ever going to be on base for him to knock in. That's the problem. Washington and Miami. Mackenzie Gore, who lands in our bottom 5 here, guys, with 47 innings pitched over the past 60 days, and a 6.32 ERA coupled with a 4.83 xFIP number. He's actually struggled more this year with left-handed batters than he has right-handed batters, which is kind of an anomaly. Now, if we're looking at the lineup tonight, it looks like only Kyle Stowers for the Marlins will actually be a left-handed batter. Everybody else is righty. But Mackenzie Gore has given up a lot of power, ISO power number-wise, to right-handed batters, but a 369 weighted on base percentage. So you'd like to go into that. There's 2 guys in the lineup today for Miami that we're going to take a look at. It's Connor Norby. Let's go Norby. And we're going to go with Jake Berger, my guy Berger, man. So 2 guys, Norby and Berger. If we're looking at some of these statistics, Connor Norby, 19 at-bats over the past 30 days against right-handed pitching. It's not a lot. And sometimes you're not going to get a lot of those statistics here when you're going up against lefties, because why? There's just way more right-handed pitchers on the market. Norby's got a 474 ISO and a 468 xFIP number. There's a 474 ISO, 468 weighted on base percentage against left-handed pitching over the past month. You got to take him. Jake Berger, 36 at-bats against lefties over the past month, a 571 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 489. So Norby and Berger from Miami are going to get looks from me tonight. So we'll write those names down. Flip it over to the other side, going up against Valente Beloso. This is a game you wouldn't even want to take a look at for a total to the over just in itself. I understand it's one of the best pitchers ballpark in Major League Baseball, but there are 2 bad pitchers on the mound tonight. Valente Beloso, 36 2/3 innings pitched over the past 60 days, an ERA close to 5, and the worst xFIP on the card today for qualified pitchers, coming in at a 5.51. Now, looking at the Nationals and saying, okay, where does Beloso struggle? He's actually decent, guys, against left-handed batters. So here's the issue. The best batter maybe overall in that lineup today is James Wood. 63 at-bats going up against right-handed pitching over the past month. A 255 ISO and a 410 weighted on base percentage, but he's a lefty. As I told you, Beloso's actually done very well against lefties. If you do just take a flyer, right? Just a flyer, and say I'm going to take James Wood, I can't actually back you off that. But if I'm just going to stick to my numbers here, I can't have him on the card today. I need right-handed batters. And primarily, you have Dylan Cruz in the leadoff spot, the young rookie they're looking to get some action on. Andres Chaparro. And it looks like just Jacob Young. So there's only a couple. By the way, Jacob Young has good numbers. You know what? Jacob Young batting 9th. You're going to get a great price on that guy. So I'm going to write Jacob Young down. The reason being is he's had 61 at-bats, guys, over the past 30 days against right-handed pitching, a 200 ISO and a 376 weighted on base percentage. That's tremendous. Keibert Ruiz actually has good numbers, but he'll be batting from the left-hand side today. I don't want that. So maybe even the middle of the lineup, we'll go Andres Chaparro. So, guys, I don't really bet all that much, man. Some moving parts down in Washington. He's got good numbers, a 250 ISO through his last 39 at-bats against right-handed pitching. So we're going to go with him. Let me write down Chaparro. So, all right. That goes for Washington. So that game actually checks out well. 3 teams so far. Baltimore with Santander and Cowser. Miami with Norby and Berger. And then Washington with Young and Chaparro here. I think can make some sense. All right. Move it forward. Houston and Cincinnati. Spencer Arrigetti's in my top 5 today. We're not fading him whatsoever, even though Cincinnati does hit right-handed pitching quite well. Nick Martinez, not a guy with great statistics, but again, a 3.35 ERA and a 3.90 xFIP over the past 60 days there. The past 30 days, Houston's actually done very well against right-handed pitching. We're going to leave that out of the equation. We're not going to do that. Let's stick to the numbers. Minnesota and Tampa Bay. Ronnie Henriquez will be on the mound. Only 46 batters he's faced on the season, so not really dipping into that one. Cole Sulser. I mean, look at these names, man, in September. Yeah, names you never even heard of. 14 at-bats over the past 30 days. Just completely skip over that game. Boston and New York. Tanner Houck's on the mound. Not great situational numbers here over the past 60 days, guys. 57 innings pitched, 3.95 ERA, 4.73 xFIP number, going against a hot team in the New York Mets. Here's the problem. Sometimes we like different things to line up, right? I need the pitcher to have those analytical statistics not look all that great, but also match up with the ISO and the weighted on base percentages here. Here's the issue. On the season, Houck has been phenomenal, ISO and weighted on base percentage-wise. But as you said, he's leaking oil over the past 30 to 60 days. If we look at his ISO power number, it's still an 091, which is phenomenal. His weighted on base percentage is a 314. That's still average. So even though I told you he is going to be close to that bottom 5 and some really good numbers for the Mets, let's be true to the system, people. It's about making money and not rooting things on. We're not going to go against Tyler McGill either. So maybe we're out for Boston and New York. Next up, Colorado and Atlanta, and a couple more games that you're not going to want to miss out on. It's Moneyline, it's Donnie, and I'll be right back.
How do we know football season is right around the corner? Because the days get shorter.
And so does your attention span.
Football, glorious football is coming. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
The NFL season gets underway tomorrow night with the Chiefs hosting the Ravens. Kansas City starting their quest for a third straight Super Bowl title. Head coach Andy Reid.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, what we've got. I mean, that's always, I think that's probably with every player, every coach, every fan, every media person. Curious to see what you have and how you handle everything. But that's the best part about it. We'll see how it goes.
The Week 2 AP Top 25 football poll is out. Georgia remains number 1 with Ohio State staying put at number 2. The biggest movers this week, USC jumped 10 spots to number 13, while Clemson slipped 11 spots all the way down to number 25.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Macy's Labor Day sale is going on now with limited time end of summer specials like great deals on back to school looks, and shop our lowest prices of the season on furniture, mattresses, and more 15 to 65% off. Or use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 20% off even more great deals. Star Rewards members can earn faster during Star Money bonus days at Macy's. Details at Macy's.com/Star Money. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Summer's almost over.
Thank God.
And you know what that means. It's time to put up the mower and call all your toady friends over for those football preseason games. Everybody but Brian.
Your wife can't stand Brian.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Oh, Usher. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Tomorrow's NFL action. Can't wait for it to get underway. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to be betting. We're going to be live in studio. You know the drill. But as you also know this drill, Akbar is out there in the chat box here on the YouTube channel right now, having some fun. He'll like this one. Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts will be limited at practice today as he's dealing with a hamstring injury per team. We know what that means. We know what that means, people. We absolutely know what that means. So probably not seeing Kyle Pitts on Sunday. is probably better than 50-50. How about that action? NFL getting underway. By the way, Philadelphia Eagles make a move at linebacker this offseason for Devin White to come over as a free agent from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's already out week number 1 with a ankle injury. But from the beat writer's perspective for the Philadelphia Eagles, Nakobe Dean has outplayed him in the preseason. So maybe that's not such a big deal when it probably is a big deal because he was supposed to come in and be a playmaker. Now, what if he's not a playmaker? Oh, the Eagles at linebacker, a story that never fails to excite. All right, let's get back to Major League Baseball. Colorado and Atlanta, 7:20 start tonight from the Big A. You saw yesterday a massive favorite for Atlanta. They won 3-0 because Chris Sale is dominant and Colorado stinks outside of Colorado. And away we go today with Bradley Blaylock on the mound. And Bradley Blaylock, 24th out of 26 pitchers today. 5.23 ERA over the past 60 days. And a 5.41 xFIP number. So you know he's going to be on our card today to fade. If we're looking at his last 30 days, 97 batters he's faced, a 159 ISO, which isn't all that bad, but an elevated weighted on base percentage of 359. He actually does slightly worse against right-handed batters than he does lefties. So if we're looking in the middle of that lineup, I'm writing down 3 names here, guys, for the Atlanta Braves. That is going to be Jorge Soler, that is going to be Marcell Ozuna, and that is going to be Matt Olson. Those are the 3 guys that I'm locked in and looking at for Atlanta Braves. If we look at those 3 guys against right-handed pitching over the past month, Jorge Soler, 51 at-bats, 310 ISO, weighted on base percentage, 399. Marcell Ozuna, 83 at-bats against right-handed pitching, a 263 ISO, and a 465 weighted on base percentage. Matt Olson, 77 at-bats against right-handed pitching, a 309 ISO, and a 377 weighted on base percentage. So there's 3 guys for Atlanta we can take care of. Now, granted, I don't like Charlie Morton all that much, but can you trust the Colorado Rockies outside of Colorado at the plate? Not necessarily. All right, let's get over to Cleveland and Kansas City. Ben Lively, just outside the top 5 at number 6 today on my card for hittable pitchers. 59 2/3 innings pitched, an ERA close to 5, and an xFIP of 4.80. For Ben Lively, last 30 days has really struggled against left-handed batters. Here's the problem. Michael Massey will be in that 3rd hole today. Not great numbers against right-handed pitching, but he is in the middle of that order between Bobby Witt and Salvador Perez. He's going to see pitches tonight. MJ Melendez, his last 64 at-bats against right-handed pitching, a 291 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 429. So that's why I'm taking a deep breath on this one here. Is it one because I like to give basically 2 per game when I like the matchup? Is it something that you just, you know what, I'm going to write this down, and this might be subject to change, though. I'm going to go Massey, even though his numbers aren't great, but I like where he is in the order. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be on base quite a few times tonight. There's no question in my mind. And again, as I told you, Lively struggling with left-handed batters. And also going to put down MJ Melendez for Kansas City. I'm going to file that one away. Melendez absolutely probably should be on my card. Or do I just say to myself, are we going with a right-handed batter because Lively struggles? However, the last 30 days for Lively against right-handed batters, he's done extremely well. So I think I do want to just keep it with lefties, even though the numbers for Paul DeJong and Bobby Witt really are off the charts. They've hammered right-handed pitching over the past month. We're going to file that one away. Domingo Germán is on the mound, who has only had 81 batters on the season, but really struggling against right-handed batters. And if we're looking at right-handed batters in this lineup, Seiya Suzuki, number 3 overall in the order, 236 ISO, weighted on base percentage, 373 over his last 82 at-bats. Boy, this is going to be a problem tonight because I don't want to dip into something I don't trust. Dansby Swanson's got good numbers. Miguel Amaya's got good numbers, but not a lot of, let's just say, action for Domingo Germán this season. Only 81 total at-bats. He's done extremely well against lefties, but can't get righties out. So you know what? Even though, because I'm going to take a look at this card, let's add a 6th team here. And we're going to go Suzuki. And who's that second best? Because it's got to be a right-handed batter. Happ's a switch hitter. He doesn't count. Bush is a left-handed batter. He doesn't count. Cody Bellinger doesn't. Isak Paredes has been terrible against right-handed pitching over the past month. Horner, the same thing. So maybe, you know, it looks like it could be Dansby Swanson. So let's go Suzuki and Swanson in the Cubs lineup. All right. So we'll write them down, file that one away. For Pittsburgh, Shota Imanaga's on the mound. I have him in the top 5, so obviously we're not looking towards that direction here. St. Louis and Milwaukee, Sonny Gray, best pitcher on the card today. Analytically, he's out. Colin Ray is actually a top 10, so we're going to lay out on him too. New York Yankees, Texas Rangers, Marcus Stroman's on the mound. Great non-analytical numbers that include ISO and weighted on-base percentages here. I mean, technically they're analytical numbers, but not really like xFIP-wise that I look at. So, I don't know. So we won't fade Marcus Stroman there. Let's go over Nathan Eovaldi. Yep, he's out as well. Next up is going to be Bobby Miller of the Los Angeles Dodgers, who is in my bottom 5. A 7.66 ERA over his last 24 and 2/3 innings pitched, and an xFIP number of close to 5. Ward's got good numbers. Moniak actually has really good numbers. All right. So let's go and take a look if we want to go Angels here. Best guys in that lineup, you want to be looking at that right side, I guess, for the most part. Last 30 days have been good, but on the season, Miller's been terrible both ways. Taylor Wood's got a 231 ISO, which is pretty good as a leadoff guy. But I think Moniak and Adele, now we're getting a lot of names on this card. Moniak and Adele for the Angels does look decent. Then you got to leave room for the Dodgers on the opposite side with Griffin Canning. Now, Griffin Canning used to be on the bottom of my card each and every time he came up. He's actually moved up. He's 17, so about midway, but still that ERA is 6.08. Boy, oh boy, look at this team. Griffin Canning has struggled with right-handed batters. Looks like 8 out of the 9 guys are crushing right-handed pitching for the Dodgers. Shoo, my goodness. Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, welcome to the show, baby. You just made the card. I can't wait to get to the Diamondbacks game next. Make sure you come back after the break.
Cheer up, Sporto.
Football season is almost here, and SportsGrid has you covered with all the angles, strategies, and odds.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and SiriusXM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The early line.
I believe in the Penn State Nittany Lions making the college football playoff this year. Part of it, the offense being so much better. Drew Aller looking really good through the air. Harrison Wallace III, really good as a downfield receiving threat. And the defense does not miss a beat now under Tom Allen's tutelage as the new defensive coordinator.
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Your wife called.
She's sick of you moping around the house, impatient for football.
So cheer up, Sporto. Football season is right around the corner.
We're gearing up to bring you all the angles, strategies, odds, and info right here. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
So far, people, we got 8 different teams with at least 2 players on those teams with RBI opportunities tonight. Could we be making some money? Absolutely. Can we fire up and have some fun with some RBI props? Absolutely. Round robins on deck? You guessed it. But let's go over maybe one of those games where I say it's not a great not a great hitter's ballpark. It's a pitcher's ballpark. But sometimes the numbers just jump right off of the page for us here. And I'm talking about Hayden Birdsong, pitching as a right-handed pitcher for the San Francisco Giants. If we look at his numbers, let me just see where he fires in. He's 16th out of 26. ERA over the past 60 days, over 44 and a third innings pitched, 5.08. xFIP number 4.38. So not disastrous. But take a look at some of these hitters that will be in the lineup tonight. And Birdsong over the past 30 days, which is really that focal point we love to look at. 89 batters he's faced, a combined ISO power number of 282, a weighted on base percentage combined at 393. They're disastrous, both of those numbers. If we break it down to each side, the right-handed pitching Birdsong to lefties over his past 46 at-bats, an ISO of 324 and a weighted on base percentage of 400. Both of those numbers extremely high. Take a look at against right-handed batters, which he's faced 43 of those over the past month. A 243 ISO and a 386 weighted on base percentage. Both of those high once again. Now, if we're looking at the lineup tonight for the Arizona Diamondbacks and how they've actually fared over the past 30 days against right-handed pitching, very well. Corbin Carroll, left-handed batter, 75 at-bats against right-handed pitching. A 385 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 435. So, as we write down our 19, Arizona, number 1 is going to be Carroll. It's got to be on that list. Number 2, left-handed hitting Jake McCarthy, 76 at-bats over his past 30 days against righties. 257 ISO, 434 weighted on base percentage. So I'm going to write down McCarthy as well. So we'll see him there. Jock Peterson, one of my favorite guys. Maybe a lot of money this year, by the way, in RBI props. As a left-handed batter, 67 at-bats against right-handed pitching, a 264 ISO, and a 415 weighted on base percentage. So we write down our guy, Jock Peterson. Moving down the list, Adrian Del Castillo. Young rookie, 53 at-bats over the past month against right-handed pitching, a 222 ISO, and a weighted on base percentage of 375. So we write down Del Castillo in that lineup. Eugenio Suarez, right-handed batter, 77 at-bats against right-handed pitching over the past month, a 260 ISO, and a 358 weighted on base percentage. So we write down Eugenio Suarez. That's 5 batters. And bringing up the rear, Perdomo, no slouch, 224 ISO, 387 weighted on base percentage against right-handed pitching over the past month. So we are going to write down Perdomo. So that's 6 batters on Arizona with a legitimate chance to get an RBI. We know that's not going to happen. All 6 are getting them. So it's up to us to sort of crunch those numbers to see who does what. If you said, Don, you got to narrow it to 3 players here that you're going to want to take RBI props on tonight. To be honest, it probably would be the top 3 in the lineup. Lefty, lefty, lefty. Carroll, McCarthy, and Peterson. 385 ISO, 257, 264. Going to be hard to knock off. And all 3 of those guys low K percentages as well, which means hopefully they make contact. And if they don't drive a run in, at least they get on base for a chance for the guy behind him to drive in a run. So I think that's going to be fun. 9 separate teams on the card tonight that we think can get RBI props with certain players. So player-wise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. Now, granted, I'm coming here saying I'm not going to have 23 RBI props. We've done that in the past. But I feel like I want to narrow it down because I do want to take a lot of round robins at not a lot of money, maybe $10 to $20 round robins, which, will cost you probably 60, 70, 80 bucks per round robin. But if you can just get 2 of those 3 or 4 to connect, you're making some pretty good money. We had a sensational week last week in Major League Baseball. One of the most fun weeks you're going to have, and hopefully that continues tonight. But we are looking forward to our NFL bankroll, which, again, will start up and firing away tomorrow. I always say this, too. The NFL season, the college football season are so much fun to start. But trust me when I tell you this. You give me 2 weeks in the NFL. There's not a better NFL handicapper out there. And I truly believe that. There are some years, limited plays here, 50 to 60 of them hit over 80% of those plays. Is that guaranteed every year? No, it's not. But when you will know a lot more about a football team, just be careful in the first 2 weeks. The fun begins. You'll understand the way these teams play. There's so many different chances to watch these games on replay to get a feel and match them up with the numbers. We are going to have fun over the next 2 weeks. Don't get me wrong, and the SportsGrid Network is the place to be. So today for a Wednesday hump day, the biggest hump day of the year, because the NFL is in our lives tomorrow. I'm Donnie Rightside, JP behind the wheels of steel. Kevin will be back tomorrow, and away we go. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow.
A chance to try out that nacho recipe you saw on TikTok. Football is right around the corner. All the angles, strategy, and odds.
Right here.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.